Taraji come out and she say, yeah, his ego was hurt. And the whole time, I'm like, Taraji, I didn't have no issue. I didn't have no problem with you. If anything, I feel like she should have understood that I was talking directly to production. Because I know the situation that you was in. We was in it together. We was literally looking at the prompter and the teleprompter together. So I understand that it was nothing that she did. It just was a spare of the moment kind of thing. And I felt like she would understand that I wasn't coming from a place of attacking her.
So for the first time since the unfortunate viral moment that happened at the last BT Awards, Keith Lee has finally broken his silence on what went down that night. And girl, Keith is done hiding his feelings. And not only did he slam Taraji P. Henson for being shady, trying to ruin his brand, and set him up for drags, but he also sent some strong words to the entire production team of the BET Awards for how they acted unprofessional in organizing the award show. Now for those who may not have clocked onto this tea, grab a seat and let me fill you in. So the 2024 BET Awards would go down in history as one of the most talked about in recent years, because it came around a time when Taraji P. Henson had her much publicized feud with Oprah, and we all remember how the news broke that she might get blacklisted and all. Well, a whole lot of celebrities stood 10 toes behind her back, and a few weeks later she was back hosting the BET Awards again. So Taraji returned to hosting the BET Awards ceremony for the third time in a row, and Taraji went viral on social media when one of her blunders became one of the most talked about topics of the award night. So this whole thing started during the show when Taraji did a bit where she gave people their flowers as a way of celebrating them. While doing this, she made her way to the front of the audience, and there was some sort of mix-up. She handed Jordan the flower, which was originally meant for Keith. Halfway through her banter with Jordan pointed to Keith, signaling Taraji that she had the whole thing mixed up. When she realized her mistake, she asked Jordan to give Keith the flowers that were accidentally given to him, and yet Taraji apologized and tried to make a joke out of it. The cameras were on Keith when the flower was handed over to him, so he decided to put up an act and pretend all was wrong, but immediately the cameras moved away from him. In a now deleted TikTok post, Keith posted a video of him throwing the flower on the floor and added a caption saying, "Our name would be known in every room when it's supposed to be, how it's supposed to be with no confusion. God is amazing." The thing is, you don't decide how a person reacts when he feels disrespected. While Taraji apologized to Keith after realizing what she had done, Keith was still mad because the whole situation made it look like he was not. Keith was not famous. And yeah, he had every right to react like he did. The video of Keith dropping the flower caused a stir on the internet, and hours later, he posted this video on his TikTok page explaining his actions.
Last night was the BT Awards, and right now, it's something on my mind. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, I want to start by saying I am not upset at Taraji P. Henson by any stretch of the imagination. And not only that, in my opinion, she smoked it last night. I don't think for 1 second Taraji had any ill will or any ill intentions behind the situation. The situation happened the way it did. It is what it is. I made a video last night where I had the rose that was given to me in my hand and I let it fall on the floor. The reason I did this had nothing to do with Taraji P. Henson. The reason I dropped it on the floor is that I wholeheartedly believe that wasn't my rose. That wasn't my rose. That wasn't my moment. It was given to me, but it wasn't mine. And I always say, I don't want nothing that ain't mine. I want what's meant for me, nothing less, nothing more. The entire segment on the production side felt extremely rushed. Not only did it feel rushed, it did not feel intentional, it did not feel purposeful. I'm forever thankful for every room that I'm in. I was more than thankful and more than grateful to just sit there and enjoy it.
Hours after Keith posted the video on TikTok, Taraji took to her Instagram page and reacted to the video of Keith dropping the flower. She said, "Life really is too short for this behavior. He wasn't in his seat. They give celebrity assigned seats. I rehearsed all damn day to go hit my mark, and that young man wasn't in his seat, so he missed his moment. His ego is hurt. He will be fine. I cleaned it up at the end of the show. No love lost here." But then months after the unfortunate event at the BET Awards, Keith Lee sat down for an interview at Shannon Sharp's club Shay Shay, where he decided to speak his truth about what happened that night. According to Keith, he revealed that he specifically refrained from talking about it because he wanted the buzz to die down and only spoke about it if it affected his family or the restaurant.
You did run into some controversy with Taraji P. Henson.
Oh, let's talk about it, Shannon.
What happened?
All right. So, again, these are things that I've never talked about, specifically because I like my family to be on the forefront and I like the restaurant to be the main focus. The only time I do speak on it is when I feel like it's starting to affect my family or starting to affect the money that I bring in for my family.
Keith then goes ahead to talk about how he was skeptical about attending the award show, even though he and his family got front row tickets, because anytime his name comes on BET, it's always for negative reasons.
We had front row tickets, we had the red carpet and all of that. I told her beforehand, the love that y'all say that y'all have for us, I don't feel it, because when y'all do mention us or y'all do bring us up in conversation, it's always the most negative thing that you can possibly talk about.
Oh.
It's always like the drama, or like, it's never like we went to a restaurant and we was blessed enough to leave thousands of people at a restaurant that was about to close tomorrow, or like anything that was positive, and is 90%, I would like to think, is 90% positive what we do, 10% of the bullshit.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of times it was the bullshit that was being brought up.
He then talks about how poor the organization of the event was from BET Awards. How getting to the show was hectic, including tickets not being readily available for part of his team. Keith then revealed he and his wife got front row seats, with his seat directly behind DC Young Fly. Then mid-show, someone from production walks in, talking about how they were going to switch his seats because they were moving to a segment where they were going to be giving people their flowers.
We go to the award show. We sitting behind DC Young Fly. We sit next to, what's his name? No, the original seats that we were in. We would sit next to an older guy and everybody was like being super rowdy, and me and him, we talking, we having conversations, we laughing with each other. I'm telling him like, you ain't gotta worry about my wife standing up and twerking. We sitting here, we enjoying the show.
Right.
We laughing, we having a ball. So it's probably halfway through the show, a person from BET walks up, or a person from production walks up, and she says, hey, we about to switch your seats in a minute because we're doing a episode, or we doing a segment to where we giving people their flowers, right? Mind you, I just talked to BET an hour ago, and I'm like, y'all don't have to do this. I'm okay sitting in these seats, having conversations with, I think his name was Dr. Bobby Jones. Yeah, we sit next to Dr. Bobby Jones. I'm like, this is more than enough for me. Like, I'm more than thankful just to be here. They like, no, we gonna sit you on the front row, and we gonna give you your flowers, and we really wanna highlight you, we really wanna.
Keith then explains the reasons behind the video of him throwing the rose on the floor, and how he didn't blame Taraji for the mistake, but the BET production team as a whole, because the whole giving people their flowers was a last-minute decision that Taraji didn't really prepare for.
This is the biggest thing that I want to get throughout the whole story. I didn't blame Taraji for 1 second, because it was all production that was making things that didn't have to be made. She come over to us, and she immediately walked past me, walked to Jordan, and she started talking to Jordan as if as Jordan was me. And I'm reading the prompter, and the prompter is saying like, tell Keith Lee, give Keith Lee his flowers, this and the third. And she look at Jordan and she go, I bet you rate this award show 10 out of 10. And Jordan go, oh, no, that's him. They had she come over, she like, oh, my bad. She immediately start like improving, because again, this is a situation where it's a lot going on. So she starts saying like, you look good too. Even though my wife is sitting right here, she like, oh, you look good. Give him his flowers, this, that, and the third. And then she tell Jordan that he look good. And just a whole bunch of improv. She leave, me and Jordan looking at each other like, what just happened?
He then talked about how the video went viral, why he dropped the flowers on the floor, and why he deleted the video.
Now that I open my phone, literally when I say 5 seconds after it happened, I open my phone, be the #1 thing on Twitter. And it's like, Keith Lee looks so embarrassed. His wife looked humiliated. And his wife, she was flirting in front of his wife. She was this, that, and the third. And they was just dragging the situation out. And I took the rose that they gave me. I dropped it on the floor. The reason I dropped it on the floor, because this whole time, I'm like, that's not for me. That wasn't meant for me. What was meant for me was to sit there where I was sitting at and mind my business. When I dropped the rose, I was speaking directly to production. Like, don't do this again. If we gonna come and we gonna enjoy the royal show, enjoy it how we had the conversation. Online, they just see, oh, he dropped the rose, he talking directly about Taraji. So they make it into a huge thing of like me disrespecting her, this and third. So I take the video down because I am a supporter of Black women, and I'm a supporter of us as a people. And to see her on stage killing it the way she killed it, I didn't want that to be clouded by the unnecessary bullshit. So I took the video down specifically for that.
Keith wasn't just going to talk about the event, the backlash he got, without talking about his disappointment with Taraji when she posted the comment about, you know, how his ego was hurt.
So Taraji come out and she say, yeah, his ego was hurt. And the whole time, I'm like, Taraji, I didn't have no issue. I didn't have no problem with you. If anything, I feel like she should have understood that I was talking directly to production, because I know the situation that you was in. We was in it together. We was literally looking at the prompter and the teleprompter together, so I understand that it was nothing that she did. It just was a spare of the moment kind of thing. And I felt like she would understand that I wasn't coming from a place of attacking her. But it was one of those things where it's like, it is what it is. I still got love for Taraji.
Inside sources revealed that because of the respect Keith had for Taraji, he chose not to talk about how he felt about her on camera, but when the camera stopped rolling, he slammed her for the comments, saying she should have known better, that he had no ill feelings about her. The source then revealed that Keith said Taraji intentionally set him and his brand up for drags because the comments hurt his brand. And what she did to him was what she fought opera. Keith wasn't done, as he also slammed the production team of BET Awards for putting up a shit show, and he claimed they acted like amateurs. Keith revealed everything went wrong that night, from the late arrival of tickets to the whole show not being coordinated and the whole last-minute gifting of flowers that caused the viral moment. Keith revealed he was still open to working with BET, but they gotta improve and move like professionals. In my opinion, I think Keith has every right to be mad at Taraji P. Henson and the production team at BET, because he sure does look like a cool guy who wants to stay out of drama and does not even want to appear on TV unless necessary. I also felt Taraji could have handled it better because the comment was unnecessary and could have been avoided, but I'm glad he has come to tell his own story, and hopefully he and Taraji trash anything they have against each other. Keith Lee slamming Taraji P. Henson for her not so nice comments about him had fans talking, and they left comments saying Keith Lee and his wife seem like the sweetest, most genuine people. I wish people would stop trying to be messy with them. Man, I respect Keith Lee's way of being. He don't even look like he gets mad. This the peace I'm looking for in my spirit. I'm happy he spoke because everything he said makes complete sense, and he seems super genuine. So do you think Keith Lee's anger towards Taraji is justified?